Hi boys and girls. For today's singing time, you'll need to print out these labels for the books in the Book of Mormon, or you can just write them in marker like I did. And then if you want to tape them to some boxes or anything that you have lying around, you can do that. If not, just the pieces of paper will work fine for our activity. Then you'll also need something bumpy, so like an egg carton or the bottom of a muffin tin, and then something to kind of strum the bumps, so like a stick or a pencil or even like the back side of a spoon will work just fine. Alright, now go ahead and grab your instrument, something that's bumpy, and I'm going to put a towel over mine just because that will help it not be so noisy. You can do that if you want. So that's still bumpy and fun, but not quite as loud. Alright, let's find the beat. 1, 2, 3. How could the Father tell the world of love and tenderness? He sent his Son, a newborn babe, with peace and holiness. Freeze! Now, did you notice there's kind of a strong beat and then 2 weak ones? So it's like strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. Try to do that. How could the Father show the world the pathway we should go? He sent his Son to walk with men on earth that we may know. Freeze! Let's try to add a little bit of a strum. So it's going to be like strum, tap, tap, strum, tap, tap. How could the Father tell the world of sacrifice, of death? He sent his Son to die for us and rise with living breath. Freeze! Let's try to go down, tap, tap, then strum back up, tap, tap. What does the Father ask of us? What do the scriptures say? Have faith, have hope, live like his Son, help others on their way. Just like that. What does he ask? Live like his Son. The ending is kind of tricky because there's places we hold, so we might do something a little bit different with the ending. Now here's a challenge. We're going down, tap, tap, up, tap, tap. We don't always say words on that downbeat on the first time we go down, but when we go up, let's try not to sing the words, okay? It's gonna be a little bit tricky. How could the Father, the world of love and tender, tricky, right? He sent his Son, a newborn, oops, don't say new, born babe with peace and holy, just the ups. How could the Father show the world the pathway we should? He sent his Son to with man on earth that we may. Freeze! So when the stick goes down, you can sing the words, but we don't always sing words on the down, so that's what's tricky. How could the Father, the world of sacrifice, of... He sent his Son to for us and rise with living. Keep going. What does the Father of us? What do the scriptures? Have faith, have hope, live his Son, help others on their. What does he? Live like his Son. Alright, hopefully you did better than I did. It's pretty tricky. You can keep practicing it as much as you want and see if you can do it without any mistakes. All right, let's go ahead and add the piano, but sing all the words. Down, tap, tap, up, tap, tap. How could the Father tell the world of love and tenderness? He sent His Son, a newborn babe, with peace and holiness. How could the Father show the world the pathway we should go? He sent His Son to walk with men on earth that we may know. How could the Father tell the world of sacrifice of death? He sent His Son to die for us and rise with living breath. What does the Father ask of us? What do the Scriptures say? Have faith, have hope, live like His Son, help others on their way. What does He ask? Live like His Son. All right, our Book of Mormon year is almost over. Can you believe it? So let's review the song that helps us remember all the books in the Book of Mormon. Now, if you printed your labels and put them on boxes or other things, go ahead and stick them on and you can build a tower with us. If you just have the labels, you can just put them in order on a table or on the carpet. Let's see how many times we need to sing the song for you guys to get your tower built in order. Okay? Ready? Go. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jerem, Omni, Words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. Okay, that was one. Let's do it again. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jerem, Omni, Words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. All right, I think we need one more time just to make sure. Lindy, will you be our pointer? Let's see how we did. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jerem, Omni, Words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. Good job, you guys. So did that take us, how many times was that? 2. Was it 2 or 3? 2. Okay. Good job. All right, now that you worked so hard getting these books of the Book of Mormon in order for your tower, I want to see if we can get them in order in a nice straight line on the floor. Okay? Let's try it. Here we go. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jerem, Omni, Words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. Should we do it one more time? Yeah. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jerem, Omni. You want to sing with me? Words of Mormon and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Great. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. All right, so now that you have them in a nice organized line, if you spread them out just a little bit, you can do this kind of fun jumping activity that Lindy is going to demonstrate for us, okay? Ready? Here we go. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jeremiah, words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Good job. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. Now, this is such a fun activity that everyone in your family is going to want to have a turn. Kelly, do you want to go next? Okay, ready? Here we go. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jeremiah, words of Mormon, and Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. Now come back. Alma, Helaman, third, fourth, Nephi, Mormon, Ether, and Moroni. Learn the teachings of the prophets in the Book of Mormon. Good job.
I kind of messed up on that one.
It's okay. You know what? Any way you do it is fine. Any jumping technique you use is fine. There are so many ways to do this. Just have fun with it. Now for each part of this song, we're going to think of something to do with our fingers, like some kind of pointing thing. Except for when we get down to this part about Jesus loving us endlessly. For that part, we're going to use our whole hand endlessly. But let's start by pointing to each of our fingers, kind of like we're counting the days. Now every day, the whole year through. Are you pointing to your fingers with me? Now every day, the whole year through, I'll think of all that I can do. So we have two different things that are similar. We have thinking and we have remembering. Just for this song. Thinking and remembering. I'll think of all that I can do. Just like this boy in the picture here. He's kind of thinking. To be like him and live as he showed me how. We're trying to think about the things we can do to be like Jesus. So let's use two fingers there because we're pointing to Jesus. So first is the calendar. Now every day, the whole year through, I'll think of all that I can do. Two fingers. To be like him and live as he showed me how. Now the remembering. And I'll remember that Christmas toys, now like this, are not as dear as girls and boys. So we do this and then this. And I'll remember that Christmas toys are not as dear as girls and boys. Now you're going to pretend like you're pointing to each person in the room. That Jesus loves each one of us endlessly. That's the part we talked about. Like this. He loves you and me. Let's put the whole thing together. Now every day, the whole year through, I'll think of all that I can do to be like him and live as he showed me how. And I'll remember that Christmas toys are not as dear as girls and boys, that Jesus loves each one of us endlessly. He loves you and me. Now that endless love that we talk about in the song, sometimes we call that charity. The pure love of Christ, love that never stops and love that never ends. That's the kind of love that Jesus has for us, and that's the kind of love that we want to try to have for other people. Let's try it with the piano. Every day. Now every day, the whole year through, I'll think of all that I can do to be like him and live as he showed me how. Remember. And I'll remember that Christmas toys are not as dear as girls and boys, that Jesus loves each one of us loves you and me. Okay, get those babies out. Could I hold the baby? Will he smile at me? 2 questions. Does he know why he is born and what his life will be? Could I hold the baby and tell him of my love? How glad I am that Jesus Christ was sent from heaven above. Now repeat that last part, how glad I am. How glad I am that Jesus Christ was sent from heaven above. Thank you for singing with me.